Welcome, parents and students. This is Senor MA. I wanted to do our second lesson. So we have done direct objects. Now we are going to do indirect objects. So the good news is that indirect objects are much easier to learn if you already have a foundation in what are objects, and two, what are the direct objects in Spanish. You have done most of the heavy lifting. So here's the thing that gets English speakers so frustrated, or it takes a while for them to figure out what is the direct object and the indirect object. In English, we use the same pronouns. So me, you, him, her, it, us, and them for both direct and indirect. Usually or often we will add for the indirect object to or for, as you can see below. So me for me or to me, te, le, nos, os, and les. The good news about what makes this so easy is that we do not need to know like the direct object whether it is masculine or feminine. We need to know, is it just singular or plural for the third person. So that's where things get a little bit tricky, but I think students are very easily going to find it and to do it. So to give you a comparison, so I was told by students that they have not had experience with reflective verbs. So that's the first one. Fortunately, reflexive verbs are much easier to understand, and they're going to fly through them once they understand direct and indirect. So we'll get back to that. And I will try to do it by the end of December. So notice the big difference here is going to be for he, she, and you. For direct, it's going to be la, lo, and la. And in indirect, it's just going to be le. For ustedes, ellos, and ellas, it's going to be los, las for direct, and les is going to be indirect. So now let's talk about the placement. So placement is very simple. So indirect object pronouns, just like direct object pronouns, are placed either before a conjugated verb or attach the infinitive at the end. So as you can see here, I speak to you, yo te hablo, and yo quiero hablarte. So in the first sentence, we have the verb before the noun. And in the second sentence, we have it attached to the infinitive because we have a helping verb. Sometimes you add so to, and usted, that's the abbreviation, a él, a ella, or a with a noun to clarify who it's going to. Because while it's a lot less work to learn le and les, it can be very confusing to figure out who they are referring to. So, el médico le da una inyección a ella. So, the doctor or the medic gave an injection to her. So you can see in the red, a ella will be le. So now with indirect pronouns, students have actually seen these before. And where they've seen them is with the verb gusta, gustar, as in I like, me gusta. So I kept telling students, when you see gustar, to interest, interesar, faltar is a word that we use for to need, often with objects. Fascinar for to fascinate, and cantar, I tell students, think. The prince and princess fall in love, it's enchanted. It looks very much like that. So when they fall in love, am cantar. And dolor, doler. And doler is a O to UE verb, stem changing verb. They're going to see it in a moment. However, me gusta, te gusta, le gusta, nos gusta, and les gusta. It is going to operate that way. So when students said, "Wait, why do we need to learn?" It is I like it, or It is pleasing to me. Me gusta. This is why, because it's going to operate as a indirect object. So here are some of examples of that. Me duele la cabeza. I do not know why, but to say me duele mi cabeza is considered rude. So me duele, it's kind of like saying my head hurts me. And a los niños no les gustan ir al doctor. So that means they do not like going to the doctor. So one of the things we did to practice, I was showing students here in the first line we have, so Carlos compra un regalo para mí. We were going to change the para mí to me and put it in front of the verb. Manuel leí el libro. Jorge le escribe una carta. Él sirve la comida a Ana. Él le sirve la comida. He sent, envió una carta a nosotros becomes nos envió una carta. So please notice here when you see para mí, a Susie, a Carlos. So for me, to me, or to us. That's our key word to note that that is the indirect object. So the last rule is what happens when you have an indirect object pronoun in a sentence. We haven't gotten to it in this lesson. We will. So indirect is going to come first and then the direct object pronouns. So here you, and then before conjugated verb or after the infinitive. So yo te lo hablo. So I speak to you about it, or I speak about it to you, or yo quiero hablártelo. I want to speak to you about it, or I want to speak about it to you. So there's one more rule, and that is the lala or the lela rule. So when there is two object pronouns beginning with an L, the indirect object is going to become say. So in this situation, let's drop the te from the example above. So if I wanted to speak to him about it, I would say, yo se lo hablo, or yo quiero hablárselo. So we can't have two L's together. And it can be a little bit confusing. However, I think once students can do both individually, they will be able to do both together very easily. Thank you very much. Please give me feedback. I hope this helps.